Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat, so you can use an entire bottle to make recipes like buffalo chicken dip or buffalo nachos, or even things that don't start with buffalo. Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything.
Hey, Craig.
It's all on you. It's all on me. Can't you see? It's all on you. It's all on me. You and me. Can't you? It's all on you. It's all on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Woo!
We're hyped.
Yeah. We are jacked right now. Absolutely over the moon. Just fired up Jack. Why are we fired up Jack, Craig?
Because basketball, not football. Fucking basketball is back.
That's right. We just got done watching WSU lay the wood to Texas State, and we are fucking jacked, right?
Absolutely. New look. This is Podcast versus Everyone, episode 179. I'm Craig Powers. With me, as always, is Jeff Newser. And
Yes.
Jeff, yeah, holy shit. I mean, there's one thing that stands out that didn't, obviously the size of the guards, but just the passing on this team, particularly one guy, Justin Powell. Holy cow.
Justin motherfucking Powell, man. I think that's going to be his new nickname because that was insane. That was absolutely insane.
There's passes that have not been made at WSU in decades. I don't fucking know. Dude, it was insane. You saw him make plays that no one was going to make last year.
No.
Even against Texas State.
No
one was going to make these plays. Some of the incredible dump off pass he had to Rosario. So many of the feeds to Mo off screen rolls. The way he's able to kick it, even when he didn't get assists sometimes, like the way he was able to kick it, just to reverse the ball in the corner, cause rotation. Just a difference maker. 12 assists, 1 turnover.
Yeah.
A bunch of minutes, 14 points, shot really efficiently, 3 of 5 from downtown. We knew he was a good 3-point shooter. Shot definitely looks good. He easily pulls up from 30 feet. There's no effort in his shot from 30 feet. He missed the one he did from there, but still, it's when a guy shoots with that little amount of effort from that deep, it's crazy. I mean, what a fun, that game was a bit of a grind for the first, they started fast, but then there was this lull in the middle of the first half, and you're like, oh man, they're all new, they're together. But that's really when Powell came off. So when he was on the floor, you had the plus minus. What you said, he was 31.
He was plus 31, which is so he was plus 31 when he was on the floor. The Cougs were minus 9 in the 4 minutes. He was not on the floor.
So his plus minus was 40.
Yeah, some people calculate it that way. They, add together the inverse of the off, right, to calculate it. So, yeah. And by the way, just to reset people, we will get to football, promise. But we're just that was really fun.
On the back of the football game, and then to have basketball season start. Obviously, if you listen to this podcast, we're massive basketball fans. That's our number one thing.
Yes.
That's what we love talking about. That's what we'll spend fucking hours analyzing, player by player. We have so much new. It's such a new team.
Yep.
You're talking most of and plus Andre Yakumovsky was out, and he's out for 2 weeks. He probably won't.
Yep.
Hopefully, will be back by the Oregon game. But that's that. So you were doing all this without probably your best shooter and one of your best low post defenders, one of your best rebounders, not even in there. And
Yep.
you have DJ Rodman going off, finally hitting some shots that, after he struggled so hard last year. To see when he hit that first one, it felt good, and then he kind of hit them with increasing difficulty as the game went on. And he's really seeming to embrace that, the attack to closeout. I saw him make a play for Mo, attacking a closeout. He's definitely grown a bit, but he's still like that hustle dude. Definitely made plays happen.
Yeah.
Like getting on the floor and everything. So yeah, there was just they started out. Texas State had the lead halfway through the first half, and then they put the starters back in. They put Powell back in, a lot of starters, and then they kind of took over. They flipped it from, I think, trailing by 3 to up by 7 at the half, and then the second half was just a walkover.
And it's hard to overstate how important DJ Rodman was in that first half. Like the offense was just no one was hitting shots. The offense had just gotten, really, really stagnant. Which was like you said, it was kind of one of those things where you just kind of went, oh shit. Because these early season games can be like that, and the refs, they were just, doing what they do early in the year, which is blow 1,000 fucking whistles. And it's like there were, I want to say, 12 fouls in the first 8 minutes, a number of those away from the ball. It was just like, I think there were about 3 charges, and I think there were about 3 of those that were away from the ball. And it was just like, come on. And so the game just really had no flow. And that was also when Kyle Smith started, experimenting with lineups just a little bit. There was a tiny bit of foul trouble. It wasn't a lot, but it was just, it was time for the reserves to come in. And, so some guys came in. Dylan Darling, got his first action.
And the combination of the lineups too. You had a lot of young guys in at this.
Yep.
You had a lineup where Kamani and Darling and Carlos, and then then it was like DJ and Gabe or something like that. That was
so there was some weird stuff. Yeah. And ultimately, the through line with all of it was, as you mentioned, it was Powell on or Powell off. Like that's kind of what it ended up being. And, and Kyle Smith did something, kind of interesting in this game. For people who didn't watch it, he rolled with the starters a lot. As he, not just like the starters playing a lot of minutes, but playing together for a lot of minutes. And I was looking through the WSU game book, and just checking out, and they've actually got lineup combinations in there. So I was kind of checking that out.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've never noticed this before. I don't know if they're always in there or not, but, so I kind of went through and kind of found the starting lineups, the times that they played together. Cause it was just sort of chronological who was playing with whom at any given time. And as near as I could tell, I think if I found them all correctly and I got it all right, the starting 5 played together for somewhere between 17 and 18 minutes. And cause I wasn't going to add up all those seconds. Sorry guys. But they were plus 29 together in those 17 to 18 minutes, which is, Craig, 20 plus 29 in less than a half of basketball is pretty good. Pretty dominant, so I think that was part of why Kyle Smith sort of rode them, is they were just really good together. Right out of the gate, ball was moving, hitting shots. It was good. And then I think the other thing was, I think everybody knows it's, I won't say it's tournament or bust. Like that's probably not quite a totally fair comparison, but everybody knows what the target is. Everybody knows what the goal is. And you can't be losing to Texas State. You can't dick around and lose to Texas State like we did last year to Eastern and whatever. Like you can't fuck around. And they didn't. So that was, I think that was kind of part of it too. So yeah, really, a lot of really interesting stuff tonight.
Well, and yeah, and I it's one game, but on the whole, if you're looking at the two guards, and there could be the defense, but this is an upgrade. Especially early in the season, over Flowers and
Terrell Roberts.
Thank you. Over Flowers and Roberts. Just the size was so fucking noticeable.
Yes.
Like when you had Jabe and Justin and Kamani in with the ball in their hands, like you kept. I just automatically instinctively thought, like, why is the forward bringing the ball? Like what? And it's just like, yeah, because our guards are massive now.
Yeah,
and that enabled
it's
them
wild.
when they played the zone, when they got in foul trouble. It wasn't bad because you have tall guards. So,
the zone was okay.
Texas State couldn't just pull up and shoot over it.
Yeah,
and
that was crazy.
Yeah, the passing lanes were tighter because he had longer arms covering those lanes. Like it was like obviously like Roberts was a very good defender, but he was a good on-ball defender. You put him in a zone, like he was basically worthless. And you had him and Mike in a zone, like they're just basically 6 foot and 5'10", like in a zone. No. But now you got these big. This is all we wanted last year, and it was so nice to see because Texas had small guards, and they were able to, especially offensively, exploit that. Justin Powell had no problem passing over into and honestly, there's not going to be a lot of guards that are bigger than him, taller at least. No. And so he's going to be able to do that all season. He's going to be able to find Mo on those slip screens, like that. He, 3 or 4 times I think Mo got dunks off of that. And just he sees. There was a few great passes. One of the best ones was early in the second half. Is when DJ they pried the ball loose. DJ dove on the ground around midcourt, tossed it to TJ. TJ passes it up to Justin Powell. Powell takes one dribble kind of in towards the baseline. You look at the replay, I don't even know when he was looking at Mo.
Yeah.
No look, rifles a pass to Mo in the key.
Yep.
Easy finish. It's wild. Like Mo is going to feast with Justin Powell.
Dude, he's going to have so many dunks.
I mean, I think he had 4 or 5 today.
Yeah.
And then other layups, layups.
Well, yeah, easy layups. Another thing that was on that, in that game book was that we took 29 shots at the rim tonight and hit I think 69% of them or something. Like we were at the rim all night long, and a lot of that was passing. It wasn't rim pressure off the dribble. Yeah. It wasn't rim pressure off the dribble. TJ Bamba didn't have his best game. He had a couple of nice drives, but didn't have his best game. As you mentioned, struggled. The zone defense was needed to contain the drive a little bit. Some of that was Bamba having a tough time, but we were able to get to the rim really with ball movement, which is, dribble drives are great, but man, when you get a sexy back cut like Jay Mullins had, right? Yeah. Where Mo fed him he kind of had it on the mid post. And Jay, kind of deked one way and then dove to the basket, and Mo just drops it off and layup for 2. It's like, that is just like sexy.
And to be able to drop that off to a 6'6" guard who can finish in traffic.
Yes. Which was finishing at the rim last year, not so great. So to do that right out of the gate this year is just like, it's so fun, Craig. People who didn't watch the game might be like, God, I can't believe you guys are getting so excited about beating up Texas State. Like, I mean, come on, and I'm like, guys, like it was awesome.
But like seriously, Texas, so KenPom had us as a 12-point win in 69 possessions.
Yeah.
In 65 possessions, they went by 22. And there was a few pullback buckets at the end when
it was up to 29. It was at 29 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, like the 2 minutes, they put the backups in, which with the backups were like backups. Like we're talking Andrade came in, he's clearly not quite ready. I think he's a little injured. And then Ben Olsen, we're not going to see him that much this year. He got 2 minutes in. But they had Carlos. I'll say we have to talk about Carlos Rosario a little bit.
Yeah, we do.
This could end up being a great story because he's been around for so long, and he had a mysterious medical issue his first year, that just basically he couldn't do anything. He couldn't gain weight. He couldn't really practice that much. And so that kept him
And he
out
did
for
play
so
a
long.
little. He did play
Yeah,
a little, but like
But do you remember?
very little.
The jersey's like hanging off of him.
yes,
Like,
yes.
like he looks so tiny, but he looked every bit of his 6'7" today, and he really looks like he's added some muscle, and he looked like a college basketball player really for the first time since he's been here, and he made some really nice defensive players with his size, with his athleticism. That block
he blocked
had,
a three. He
He
blocked,
blocked
a three.
where he was nowhere fucking near it. And,
No.
and then he had a steal where he just like used his long fucking arms and like just ripped it away. Like, and
Had
then
a really nice and one finish on a
he finished
feed
around the rim
from
a
Powell.
couple times.
Yep.
You know, he would add a dunk, but they called a foul on the pass. So he was getting set up for a dunk from Kamani, I think, and then Kamani definitely there's something there. He definitely commands the ball when he's in the game.
Yeah,
he
ain't scared of nothing, man.
He had kind of a dunk, like drove the lane, went up strong with it. Definitely, I think he could have had a few more assists. He just didn't get the finishes that maybe Powell was getting. I think he looks like a dude that maybe halfway through the season is going to look a lot different for him.
Yep, I agree with that.
Once the speed of the game and just when he knows the offense, he knows his teammates better. He looks like he's another great passer, another great point guard, another guy that can run the offense. And he's 6'6". He's every bit of 6'6" too. He is massive.
Yep.
Like,
and his body,
crap.
his frame is so big. His arms are huge. Wingspan is like, okay, if we're playing, the Jay Billis NBA draft wingspan drinking game, like he is, the wingspan there is unreal. His hands are huge. He's just like, as a physical specimen, he is something we have not seen in Pullman, to be honest. And I can kind of see, Bryce Hendricks, our awesome basketball dude,
who published 14,000 words.
Yeah.
That Jeff edited.
Oh my God,
today.
yes. You should read them all, by the way. Every once in a while he just sort of casually drops in that, Hunsu might be, like one and done. And I'm like, really? But like, when you look at him physically, you're just like, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he would have to do production wise, to have that sort of taken seriously. But but just physically, that dude he's a different kind of athlete than we've had. I mean, we've had, FA and some springy bigs or whatever, but this guy's like, I mean, he's all that. So yeah. And I think you're right. I think the curve for him is exactly what you said, which is, as first of all, his assertiveness is, I think, going to be an asset. Yeah. And then I think that's going to allow him to develop, in a way that, maybe a lot of guys don't, particularly as the season goes along. So yeah. He's exciting, man. He's exciting.
Yeah,
Dylan Darling looked okay in 3 minutes.
He didn't really,
I guess.
He didn't really do a lot.
Didn't really do much, but that was nice. He was one of the first guys off the bench, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, Kamani was first, and then Dylan was second, I think, and then that was all he played.
Yeah. Apparently,
he was a little dinged up.
But
I definitely,
cool
the defense maybe wasn't exactly what you would hope. I suppose like there was, Mo's kind of the guy down there, can't quite play the same way he did last year, where he was, going for steals and blocks and stuff. But he definitely was more assertive on rebounding. You could tell, especially defensive rebounding.
Yep.
He was going for the ball. He wanted the ball. So and he had a heck of a rebounding game. And he didn't really take many jumper. I think he took a couple fade turnarounds. Didn't really shoot many jumpers or anything like that. He really didn't need to, which is going to be good for his production. The fact that he does not have to generate things on his own as much. We saw with FA at times he would but he would just be missing for a game because really the guards weren't generating anything for him. But it seems like with the personnel with Justin and Kamani and the way Jabe moves the ball, he's not really a playmaker as much, but he's a good ball movement guy. And even the way DJ is looking, and we know that Andre is a good passer. Like he was the best passer on the team last year, or the last 2 years. And so when he comes back, you're just gonna have all these passers, and so Mo, even if he hasn't quite, even if that one-on-one game is not quite there yet, although he did have some nice post moves and stuff. Maybe it won't be as needed. Last year when they would just dump the ball into FA and hope that he could create something, which happened way more than it should have happened. So yeah, that was it was he had a he had a pretty quiet. He led the team in scoring 18. It was fairly quiet 18 points. He was just kind of catching the ball and putting it in. It
was kind of an easy 18. Yep.
Same for Jabe. Jabe Mullen's very quiet, 13 points. Very efficient. Took 5 shots from the field and made 6 free throws.
It's really easy to overlook what Jabe Mullins did tonight. And I wrote my little post game analysis, and I kept trying to think of I wanted to really kind of limit it to kind of 3 key observations. I don't want to write forever, and so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to write. And then the whole time I'm thinking, God, I really want to work Jabe in here because he had such a good game. I mean, he played the second most minutes. He had 13 points on 5 shots, which, Craig, that's pretty fucking efficient.
Yeah.
And he just was he was steady. He didn't have a ton of assists like Powell did. But he also only had 1 turnover for as much as the ball was in his hands. He just was very steady. And it was really easy to see what the coaching staff sees in him. Where, he just makes the right play. He makes the right decision. He keeps the ball moving. It's kind of the stuff we talk about with Andre. You mentioned Andre being such a good passer. It's like Andre doesn't always rack up assists, but what he does do is when the ball hits his hands, it doesn't stick there, right? Like it keeps moving. He finds the next spot where it's supposed to go. It felt like Jabe was doing a lot of that as well. So yeah, I mean, for a guy who only used 14% of possessions, tonight, he had a really, really nice game. And it was, like I said, it was easy to see why the coaching staff, likes him. And, kind of back to your point about how there were times last year where it was kind of, dumping into FA and hope for the best. I mean, I can't think of very many possessions tonight where things got gummed up to the point where it was just sort of like, okay, well, whoever's got the ball in their hands, try and do something. And that happened pretty frequently last year. A lot. And that, I mean, I don't know how many possessions there were like that tonight, but it couldn't have been more than half a dozen. I mean, it was, there probably were some in the first half when the lineups, got kind of mucked up with, the combos with the subs and everything else. But in general, man, it was like they were getting good look after good look after good look. I mean, look, they finished at 1.28 points per possession. like that's really, really, really good. So yeah, it's man, just it was a lot of fun to watch. It was pretty, pleasing basketball, and I think that's something that a lot of our fans have sort of struggled with under Kyle Smith at times. Have been, feeling like, oh, they just chuck threes or. It gets kind of stagnant sometimes, man. Tonight was beautiful, and it was a lot of fun.
And now that sets them up, they had a really good first game that sets them up Saturday. A game that's going to be at least a quad 2 game by the end of the year, but depending on what Boise State does, could become a quad 1 game if they're able to get into the top 75 of, they're 86 on KenPom right now. Can kind of say, yeah, maybe they'd probably be around that in the net. So they have a very, a very strong possibility they could move into the top 75 of net. So this could end up being a massive game for the resume, and it is the second game. And it sucks how Andre's not playing.
I know.
But
Yeah.
also at the same time, tonight you felt a little better. Like, hey, there are some guys, but you always want the depth, because you don't know if DJ's gonna hit 5 threes again and all that stuff. But they played really well tonight. They played like a top 40 team tonight.
Yeah, they did.
And they played like a tournament quality team tonight. And if they play like that against Boise State, they will be Boise State. And so I wish I could tell you more about Boise State. They're one of the few teams in the country that didn't play today. They don't play till Wednesday. They play South Dakota State, another one of our heartbreakers from last year. But yeah, so they go down. They're playing true road game against Boise State on Saturday. I know it doesn't sound like a massive, but this could be a massive game as the season goes.
Oh yeah.
on.
Oh, huge. It's an absolutely huge game. And I think the team knows it too. So, yep, that'll be a big one.
And in your non-conference, you're getting likely two. You're getting one guaranteed quad one, which is going to be Baylor.
Yep.
But this is the other opportunity maybe. Now you're hopeful that the Pac-12 is a little better this year, so there's more opportunities for quad ones and stuff. But I think there will be. Maybe USC notwithstanding. I don't know. But yeah, so it's big. So that what time is that one at? That's at that is actually currently KenPom has that as his number one fan match game for Saturday.
Yeah.
With the top thrill
Let's
score
go.
of 58.6.
Let's go.
There aren't very many games where two top 100 teams are playing each other.
It's pretty normal for this time of year.
Kind of normal for this. So this is actually, kind of one of the premier games in college basketball on Saturday. 7 p.m. So
and we're gonna roll right from Arizona State right into that one. So that game's at 4:00.
No.
The Cougar or the basketball game's at 4:00.
Oh yeah, 7 p.m.
on Saturday.
Eastern. Sorry, I was like,
Yes.
what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, so it'll probably
7 p.m. Eastern.
It'll probably be getting going while about ending. So I'll have to run over to the Coug and watch.
Yeah, you have to sprint.
Boise State or something.
Don't hurt your Achilles.
Yeah, well, I've done a little running. All right.
All right, good job. You did a lot of running.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, big. A big fucking Saturday. So yeah, we mentioned the football team. I guess we could talk about the fucking football team. I could talk about the basketball team forever. Even though, I don't know how many the only podcast that will talk about a win over KenPom number 189 for half an hour. But yeah, so I guess we can come down from the basketball to talk about football, which
if we have to,
got its first win in over a month in absolutely dominating fashion. Just a beautiful palate cleanser, therapeutic experience of a game that was just that was just beautiful from start to finish.
Yes,
it just they were up 21-0 immediately. And it just coasted from there. And what a nice, after just the last 3 games have just been, playing very good teams. 2 of them on the road. Then you add in Oregon before the Cal game. They've been playing a lot of tough teams. Had a couple close losses to 2 of those very highly ranked teams. And you start to feel, think of the mental state we were at when we recorded the podcast last week, where it was just, we were just like, we don't even know if they can beat anybody. We don't even know if they can score enough points. Against any. We knew Stanford's defense wasn't that good, but we didn't know if is our offense even good enough to take advantage of that.
We were like, can they score on any? And look, Stanford's defense, we talked about this. Like, they were not terrible. Like, they were
They're not
holding
like
some teams
Arizona.
down. Like,
They're like Arizona bad.
like, they're not good, but they're also like, it was reasonable to wonder if we'd be able to score. Like, that was not an unreasonable thing to consider. And yeah, it turned out we didn't have a lot of problems there. I think a lot of it had to do with getting Nakia Watson back, which was super, super, super wonderful, as he showed like on the first fucking drive, like ripping off a 60-yard run. Like, oh yeah, there you are. You're back. Okay, that was great. So yeah, huge help there.
Nakia was, you really didn't fully appreciate it, but you know, the way he hits the hole, the power that he runs with is very different from the other backs that we have.
Yes.
And so he was just able to take advantage of, you know, the offensive line had a pretty good run blocking day, and he was able to take advantage of that because he wouldn't delay. He'd smash that hole on that 65-yard run, massive hole, that, you know, his 40 some yard touchdown run, that massive hole, and he burst through it. And that was just great to see, you know. And then all in all, they had basically take out, let's see, there was no sacks, so it was all just pure rushing yards, which, hey, there were no sacks in this game on 34 pass attempts. Like, yeah, how sick is that? Like, what we kept saying.
We have spent so much time shitting on this offensive line. Like, let's just be honest. For them to do that, they were really good.
And I know the competition, but you know what? Everyone deserves to play a fucking bad team once in a while. They have went through the gauntlet 4 of the last 5 games against the four of the 5 best teams and possibly the 4 best teams in the conference.
Yes.
Where you at with Oregon State or UW, but
like
4 of the best 5 teams in the conference, definitely the top 3 teams. You know, and
played them all.
You know, all who have the top recruiting teams in the conference. You know, best, or at least Utah traditionally, you know, has like these amazing front sevens, and they're just getting wrecked. But man, we kept saying it though. Like, it felt so good to play a bad team. WSU's kind of in this weird place where they're not really good enough. They're not quite good enough to. Yeah, I mean, they definitely hung with 2 of the best teams of the conference at home. But you know,
I mean, they hung with USC too. I mean, let's not forget that was. I mean, that was a 1-possession game into the second half. Like, that was. It's not like they got run off the field.
Well, and they had to lead it, or they had to lead almost like right up until halftime. USC tied it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, your 3 best teams, 3 teams that are in contention for. Well, maybe not Utah, but, you know, certainly Oregon and USC both in contention for college football playoff, and you hung with all 3 of them, you know. But you're right. Like, they're kind of in this weird place where they're not really good, but also, like, now clearly after you watch them against Stanford, like, they are.
And Cal. Like, they're definitely, they're in this space where they're not at the top teams, but they're much, much better. There's, like, a clear dividing line in the conference this year. Like, there's like a huge gap between, you know, WSU and probably UW and then the rest of the bottom. You know, like, you know, when now we'll see with Arizona State and Arizona. Obviously, Arizona State might be where the way they've been playing lately might be a lot closer now. Based on the whole season numbers, you know, even Vegas has us as quite a big favorite, but Arizona State's definitely playing better. But we're not. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, but then the thing about this game, and then you think about the Cal game, it's absolutely obliterated those 2 teams. Total domination, and it never, you know, and you know, obviously the Cal game was close until the 4th, but it honestly never. We talked about that.
Yeah, it never really felt like Cal was in the game.
Yeah, they kind of were lucky to be. But this one, there was no luck involved for Stanford. They were fucking fumbling it away left and right. It had the feel of that Arizona State game last year. It was like, they couldn't possibly do this again. And they're doing it again. They're fumbling.
Yep.
And there was even two fumbles one fumble that was reversed, and there was one fumble that probably should have been a fumble, and they just didn't call it. They never blew the whistle. They said, they just decided after the fact.
Forward progress was stopped. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You didn't blow the whistle. How could you think
Whatever, man.
Whatever. It's
Can't be
fine.
too mad.
We kicked their asses.
Yeah, it's so funny. You go from Cam Ward last week has like what 85% completion percentage, and it was like just kind of a very there was like not much impressive about it. And then he's 16 of 32 in this game, and they win like easily.
Yeah. It was it's amazing how much easier things are if you're running for 306 yards.
306 yards.
Yeah, first time over 300 since, what did we say, 06, right?
And that, but it was actually 316 before the kneel downs.
Right. Before the kneel downs. Yep, they went 3 for -10. That was funny too. Like at the end, I was starting to panic a little bit. I was like, "Oh shit, the kneel downs might take them down under 300," because I certainly didn't want that because round numbers are very important.
With the kneel downs and with that really stupid reverse pass they tried,
yes,
that ended up in a massive
they went for
loss.
-19. Went for -19.
With that -29, they still averaged 8 yards a carry.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty damn good. So Nakia Watson, was over 10 yards a carry. By the way, do you know who led the team in yards per carry?
Yeah, dude, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, well, who is it then? Okay, go ahead, Craig. Who is it? John Mateer. How about that shit?
Okay.
We got some backups in the game. That's how well this went.
Yeah, John Mateer ran for 59 yards, and Javensky Schledbacher ran for 50 yards. And they didn't even play until the fourth quarter.
Yep. I know. And Mateer, so an interesting thing about that. So I listened to, I make it a point to listen to Jake Dickert's coaches show every week, which is not something that I've always done with the football coaches. Leach was just sort of, Leach is the master of talking a whole lot and not really saying anything.
Oh, yeah.
He'll just sort of cough and wheeze and, and then not actually answer the question. And then Rolovich just kind of likes the smell of his own farts when he answers. So it's just whatever. But Dickert actually will, he'll occasionally actually say something pretty insightful. And he's not afraid to actually, sometimes reveal legitimate things and, not things that'll help the opponent, but things as a fan, you're like, oh, that's really interesting. So he talked about Mateer and they talked about how he's kind of a different dude than Cam. He's listed at 6'1", 205, and they said that he's definitely not 205 anymore. He's probably more between 210 and 215. He's a big dude. And, Dickert said, yeah, when he gets his chance, when it's his turn to run this thing, we will have a package where he runs the ball. That will be part of what we do. And I was like, that's very transparent. I'm surprised that he said that. And then they went out and put it on film by doing it. Cause some of it was scrambling, but some of it was him just keeping the ball.
Two of them were
running,
just a keeper and, on an option play. So it was, his two biggest runs were from that.
Yep.
And
so
then he threw
really kind of fun to watch.
Absolute dime for his first touchdown pass.
Yes. Oh my God. That was
leading.
That was a throw, man.
To the game's our leading receiver, Orion Peters.
Yeah. 50 yards. We dropped 52 points. We dropped 52 points on Stanford in a game when our starting quarterback threw for 176 yards.
On 50%. He was barely what? So what is he not even 6 yards a pass?
Yeah. Totally insane. Obviously we
had more yards per carry than
Yeah.
More yards per carry than yards per pass.
Yes. Obviously, the turnovers are a huge part of that. Stanford could not hang on to the ball. And then we were, to our credit, we were massively efficient in converting those opportunities, that field position, into points, which is what you got to do, right? But Stanford's, man, they are something else, man. They just, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's gone wrong over there. 24/7 tells me they're still pretty talented. I don't see it when I watch them play. I don't know about you, but there were so many years where it just felt like, okay, Stanford's got dudes who can just overwhelm us. Like, whoever they are, they're going to have some linemen who are bigger, stronger, faster. They're going to have some wide receivers who are bigger, stronger, faster. They're going to have some tight ends who are bigger, stronger, faster. And they'll probably have some crazy good running back, and that's what they're going to do. Right. And they just don't have those guys anymore. And it's really kind of wild to see that they just, maybe it's a matter of development
too.
They did, but they
so
just,
do we.
but even when those guys aren't injured, they don't have those guys anymore. I don't know if it's a development thing. I don't know if it's just, identifying the right kind of talent is as important as identifying recruiting talent, right? So it's 4 stars are only good in so much as they actually fit, what you're trying to do. So maybe there's something with that. I honestly don't know. But all I know is it's kind of crazy to me. If you had told me 7 or 8 years ago that, that Stanford would look like this, I'm certain that I wouldn't believe you. Cause I'm like, man, Stanford it seems to be a school that recruits itself, and they just, I don't know, man. It's utterly bizarre. And I think nothing exemplifies what has happened to them than us beating them, was it now 6 times in a row? Right. It's I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's kind of funny. It's always it takes a getting whipped by WSU till people will be like, oh, this coach needs to go, because even though we fucking beat him 6 times in a row, he hasn't beat us since when he got fucking lucky to beat WSU in 2015.
Yes.
The last time, with his
that
top
game could have
10
easily
team,
gone to missed field goal at the buzzer,
Or
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey fumbled.
Yes. All that.
It's so he got lucky to beat WSU the last time he beat WSU. And in that span, PJ pointed out there's been 3 massive blowouts and then 3 close wins.
Yeah, 3
But still,
pointers.
he just hasn't been able to beat WSU in 6 tries, and that always gets under people's skin, right? If they lose to WSU, any team in the conference, losing to WSU, besides maybe Oregon State, they're, but even they were mad. That took 8 years in a row losing to us, but it's and now and you kind of get the feeling it's. This is nearing the end for him there, and it's just because just the salary he's paid and the results they've put out recently, it's just, it's unacceptable. It truly is. You cannot.
And he
be
seems
paid
like
almost,
a guy. He seems like a guy who's got a lot of pride too. I don't think he's a bad dude at all. I think he's actually a really good dude. But he's also an incredibly smug dude. And so it's I kind of enjoy watching him squirm. The camera kept showing him looking up at the scoreboard.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he just kept
What is
looking at the
happening
scoreboard,
right
and then he'd look at the field, and then look at the scoreboard, and I'm like, oh, this is too delicious. Even Stanford is going to reach a point where they've had enough. So
yeah, and I mean, he's a hard guy to fire because he literally took them to their greatest heights as a program.
Yeah. I think ultimately what it'll come down to with him is whether he wants to keep doing it. You know, it's it's not been working for a while for him, and that's kind of the big thing.
Stanford hasn't been good for.
No, and like one thing I looked at was, again, I know that the 24/7
he is only 50
composite whatever. Yeah, like the talent thing is telling me that they've got talent, but I'm also like I know what my eyes tell me, and then I also look at the draft and like they were consistently putting first and second rounders in the NFL up until about 2018. And then after that, it was like, last year, I think they only had one guy drafted last year. The year before that, I think they still had like 4 or 5, but it was mostly middle to low round draft picks.
Right.
They're just not, the high end talent's just not there. So yeah, I don't know. That's probably enough Stanford talk.
But yeah,
you're going to Pullman again this weekend. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's just talk about the defense. It was awesome to see the defense.
Okay. Yeah, defense.
Destroyed.
Let's talk about that.
Defense just ripped them apart. Like it was.
Yes, they did.
There was 2 bad drives really out of the whole freaking game. Like, and the turnovers, like they try for that shit. Like they miss tackles sometimes because they're trying to rip that fucking ball out, and sometimes it just hits, and it hit, and they scored a touchdown. Yeah, defensive touchdowns are amazing. So really, if you're looking at their net points, is like 7, and then and just Stanford, a lot of their yardage came on like when WC had a big lead already, and they're kind of sitting back a little bit. So they're just like tossing the ball around. Because it took them, I think 3 or 4 drives to even get a first down. And so I got to give the defense is now they're 17th on SP Plus right now.
Ooh, didn't know that.
So, yeah, and I get that's higher even than the I'm pretty sure that's higher than the 2017 defense.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
So
it's impressive.
This defense, really throughout this stretch, we've been focused so much on the offense. The defense has still been playing really well.
Yes, they have.
Really, the only bad game they had again was against Oregon, and so that
kind of everybody's having bad games against Oregon these days. And that's a really good fucking
exactly.
Game.
So and that gives you hope for these last 3 games that they really have a chance.
Yes,
if the offense can, with Nakia back now. Obviously, Jarrett Kingston is now out for the season. That's rough.
That is a major bummer.
Yeah. I mean, this team is pretty snake bitten this year, especially offensively with injuries.
Yep.
There's just been key injuries everywhere, but yeah.
But as you mentioned, the offensive line's been pretty good, and Christian Hilborn did seem to do okay, sliding out to left tackle. So. That was good.
All right. So let's, where are we at? Are we on time?
We are at
47.
We are at 47 minutes.
Let's just do a break and then we'll talk about Arizona State on the other side.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be back.
Back.
Well, I guess before we talk about the Arizona State Stun Devils and family weekend, we can talk about beer.
Yeah.
Jeff's gluten night every day.
Yes. Yeah, I'm having the Oktoberfest lager from the Moon Room series by Ecliptic.
Ooh.
Which is, the 2022 Ecliptic Brewing Moonroom Series is our ode to all things lager beer. Our Oktoberfest lager is an ode to the annual fall festival in Germany. This beer is rich and toasty, yet balanced with a clean, crisp finish, perfect for a liter or two. And I'll be honest, I kind of wish I had a liter because this is really, really good. Sometimes Oktoberfest beers can be, for me, like you kind of know my palate, and I'm not like, I don't know, man. Like sometimes they're like the sweetness, the syrupiness, the caramelness, the carameliness. I don't know. It's a little too much for me sometimes. But this one is actually like delicious. Like it's an outstanding lager. And like it says, just kind of like got that just kind of toasty warmness, that you like on a cold fall day. And so I'm like, yeah, this was actually, I wasn't sure if I was going to have this or I still have a fresh hot Pilsner in the fridge. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with this one. And I was actually really glad I did. Yeah, it's kind of perfect for a nice chilly fall night.
So I went for rando beer out of the cellar, rando old ass beer.
Okay.
I try not to duplicate breweries too much, but really, I mean, we're at 179 episodes. Like, it's gonna happen. I don't know.
It is gonna happen.
I don't know if I've ever drank a Prairie Artisan Ales beer on the podcast. Maybe I should have been tracking these, but I don't care that much. But so what I'm drinking is a Prairie Vanilla Noir Imperial Stout aged in oak whiskey barrels with vanilla beans. I'm going to try to look at my spreadsheet to see what year this is from. Yes, I have a spreadsheet. Let's see. Scroll down to the P's here. This is good. So this is it's vanilla. This fresh. I remember the vanilla was intense. Prairie, Postdoc, Prairie. Oh, I need to update this because I think I've drank a lot of these beers. So this is probably Vanilla Noir 2019.
Ooh.
And it says I have 2 of them. I think I maybe drank one of the other ones, so I might have to delete this off of the spreadsheet now. So 2019, not quite as old as I thought it was, but it is 3 years old. Yeah, the vanilla is definitely faded, but it's still hanging on a bit there. Vanilla is one of those things where in vanilla, when they put it in beers, like it can be super intense right away, and then it's one of those adjuncts that'll fade like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the base stout, the base stout is a good, like, kind of big, sweet stout. And then they age it in rye whiskey barrels, which can kind of, or just oak whiskey barrels. Okay. Well, I don't know what kind of beer. They don't specify. But it does kind of, it dials back the sweetness a bit. But this is a very well done barrel-aged stout. And I'm happy to, it comes in just a 12-ounce bottle. So that also appealed to me for drinking by myself during the podcast. But yeah, it's real tasty. Prairie, so these noir beers, like I think I got these in like Texas or something. Like back in the day, they didn't send any of their barrel. You definitely could get like some of their offerings here, but back in the day, they would never really send the barrel aged stuff. But now, like you could get bomb and stuff like that. But the barrel aged stuff I've seen on the shelves in Washington quite a bit now. So, I would, as kind of like sometimes like if you go to a bottle shop or a place that has a big craft beer inventory and does a lot of kind of out of state beers and stuff, Prairie makes they're like Oklahoma's version of Fremont in that they have a massive barrel program and they make a lot of barrel-aged beer. Actually, I know I have done a Prairie beer because I did the one that when I did with some of my beer nerd friends where Prairie has a program where they let you pick the barrel and the adjuncts for a barrel-aged beer and then they make it for you.
Nice.
So I did just the tick. I think on an earlier one. So this is my second Prairie beer. But I always say like Prairie makes very very quality barrel aged beers. I be wary of their apple brandy stuff. Sometimes apple brandy just in general is kind of can be dangerous in terms of like infection and stuff. But I've had their apple brandy noir is delicious. But yeah, so yeah, if you just want, if you see their stuff and you're just looking for a barrel aged beer to try, that's maybe a little more easy to consume because it comes in a smaller bottle. Like, highly recommend a lot of their stuff. It's very good. And this one, no different. Very good stuff. Prairie. I think a lot of these beers, I haven't updated my inventory in a while, and I think during the pandemic, I've went through a lot of the Prairie beers because they were small, and I was just sitting around doing nothing, and I'd be like, "Oh, let's have a 12 ounce. Let's have a 12 ounce, 14% beer. It's fine." But yeah, Prairie, check it out of Oklahoma. Yeah, it says distributed by Shelton Brothers. I wonder if they still distribute for them, but Shelton Brothers exist anymore? I don't remember. But yeah, so check it out. Beer. But yeah, I guess I did have this other beer that I was gonna do. There's a fresh hop beer, Structures, and then I realized it was with a collab with Red House in Phoenix, and so I didn't want to do it because of the proximity.
Because we're playing Arizona State.
Yep. So I had to pull I think I was a couple minutes late to the podcast. For once, I was the one that was late. And it's because I was trying to find a fucking beer, and I went deep into the cellar for this guy. So yeah, Prairie, Pinot Noir. But yeah, Arizona State.
Yeah.
Coming on up to play in 30-degree temps in Pullman.
Yes.
At first, at first I was like, oh man, it's a day game. That means they're kind of getting off the hook. But no, it's just gonna be cold all day. Like it doesn't matter.
It's still gonna be cold.
Like, yeah, it's the high on Saturday is 37.
Yes.
Which will come in like maybe around the start of the game. Which is not warm.
Nope.
That is not warm.
And
the fams in attendance.
36 degrees. It's going to be 35, 36 degrees by late in the game. So,
Yep. Nice and warm. So, it's always nice. I do like that they send the Arizonas up here in November quite often. I'm not sure why. But
I don't know how that works, but I'm glad it does.
Yeah. Because they're going to be practicing 80 degrees all week, and then they fly up to Pullman, and it's 30 degrees.
Yes, there's no way to simulate.
Maybe they're practicing in a freezer, I guess. I don't know, or like a refrigerator, like a walk-in cooler. Got to go practice in a walk-in cooler, guys. But yeah. So Arizona State, obviously they had a mid-season coaching change, which may have happened on the field if you saw the video.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it might have.
Kind of looked like it was like, yeah, we're going to fire you, dude. Oh, okay.
Yeah, get your shit in order by tomorrow, okay?
I mean,
it's kind of what it looked like.
The Herm Edwards era started a little better than I thought it would, but it kind of ended up going exactly
about like we thought it would.
You thought it would, yeah. But yeah, so they when Herm was still around, they were getting whipped around. But recently they the offense in particular has had some better games. They did lose to Stanford, like at Stanford.
Yep.
And they gave up a ton of points to Colorado, which is not good.
Yep. Nope.
They did
not
beat
good at all.
Washington. They beat Washington.
Yep.
And they did, they gave up 50 to UCLA, which honestly isn't that big of a crime. Like UCLA has a pretty good offense.
No,
but
UCLA's got a really good offense. Yeah.
They put up 36 themselves.
Yep.
I do think it seems they are better since the coaching change.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's indisputable.
But how long does that last? I don't know. Overall, pretty solid offense. Better than our offense. Averaging 28 a game, 6 yards of play. They especially, with Herm, he really liked running the ball. They're kind of 50-50 running pass. Their quarterback is, who's playing now?
That's a great question.
So let's look.
Yeah, I'm not sure which of these two guys is actually the quarterback right now.
So against Trenton Borguet, I don't fucking know. Borguet?
Yeah.
Borguet.
Holy shit, he's lighting shit up.
Yeah. So he has started the last 2 games, and he has played very well.
Yeah.
So he was not the starter to begin, but he seems to have taken the job over. And yeah, he has put up almost 800 yards in his last 2 games. 8.5 yards an attempt overall in the season. 8 touchdowns, 3 picks, 75% passing. Yeah. What the fuck?
So he will turn the ball over though.
Yeah.
So that's good. Let's have some of those.
It seems that maybe they probably threw against UCLA a lot just because when they were down late and stuff. But
yes.
But yeah, so he's 5'11", 185, junior QB, getting his first break here. Emory Jones started the year, was much less impressive. 7.7 yards attempt, only threw for 5 touchdowns in 7 games. So yeah, I would say they're getting better quarterback play than they were at the start of the season, which that's annoying. Like, come on.
Yep. And
we cashed
but
in
at least
all of
we
our
don't
luck
have.
and we saw what?
Yeah. I was gonna say at least we don't have Jaden Daniels to worry about this time. So
yeah, that's Alabama.
He's out there at LSU beating Alabama. So
I was just thinking like
somebody else.
So last year, Jaden Daniels got fucking destroyed by Wazoo, and this year he beat Alabama.
Yep. Well, college football, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make out of Arizona State. Like again, it's I obviously feel a lot better after this past weekend.
The running back Valladay, the transfer from Wyoming, is good.
Yep.
I don't know how to say his first name. Zazavian Valladay.
Not even going to try.
We're not professionals here. Okay.
No, we're not.
But yeah, so he's good. But WC's done pretty well against the run game.
Yep.
Against good running backs. He will get the bulk of the carries. They have a couple of running backs. Emory Jones ran the ball, but this Trenton guy doesn't. I don't even know how to say his last name. He does not seem to run the ball. That's not his MO.
Not really.
So Emory Jones ran the ball a little bit more, especially near the end zone and stuff. But Trenton is going to be the guy. It looks like, and he is more of a pocket passer, and so I don't know. That's good or bad. I know like the other passers give people nightmare. The people the quarterbacks that can run give people nightmares. But I think with the way our defense plays, it's probably better to play a quarterback who's a pocket passer. We kind of are aggressive by nature, and you have to kind of sell out a bit to make up for sometimes some of the talent deficiencies. But there should not be a talent deficiency in this game, to be honest. But Arizona State's not recruiting out of this world or anything. But yeah, so in terms of their defense, not very good. Worse than Stanford's probably. If that it. Yeah. These next 2 games, WSU's going to be playing some easier defenses, and hopefully they can eat. In terms of sacks, they only have 11 sacks on the year. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yes.
They do a decent amount of TFLs, but really 35, it's not too bad. Our running game doesn't get a lot of TFLs, especially with Nakia back there. If the line can block, this is not a defense that's gonna generate a ton of pressure normally. If the line can block, maybe WSU can mix up their offense a little bit more, go beyond the screens like they did. They mixed in a little bit more against Stanford because Cam was able to have a little bit more time. Hopefully move it down the field a little bit more. But really, when it comes to the run game, if they can, if they're able to, with Nakia, it seems like they're more willing to run the ball. When
Yeah, I
Nakia's
think
in the
that's
game.
accurate. Yeah, I
And
felt for a while that the run game was being a little underutilized, and yeah, like that was really good. Now that we got him back, hopefully, as far as we know, he came out healthy. So hopefully that's actually the case.
So when you take away sacks, Arizona State's giving up around 5 yards a carry.
Yep,
That's good. So I could see, and their pass defense is better, I think, probably than their run defense. They've been pretty decent against the pass. So I would love to see them run the ball again. Run the ball early like they did with Nakia. Maybe some design runs with Cam, or maybe he's able to pull the read option, the zone read, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's I would like to see them run the ball a little bit more. This is not like when it was Mike Leach and we would just throw our hands up and say, "Look, guys, they're not going to run the ball." Okay, like this offense is more inclined. This version of the air raid is more inclined to actually call a running play versus just go off the head count. So I'd like to see a few more runs, and if the boxes aren't there, hopefully the offensive line is able to block and they're able to move the ball down the field, and if Arizona State is going to key on the run, then that should open up the screen game. It should open up things down the field. So I don't know, like the more I look at Arizona State, the less I'm impressed with them. But that quarterback does scare me a little bit now that they're getting better offensive play because of that quarterback. I think a lot is big, and so they have a decent running back, they have a decent quarterback. But like I said, our defense has played really well, and if they can hold Arizona State down to 21 points, maybe again we feel this. There's possibilities in the world of scoring over 20 points now again. It's believable. And
the
so
whole world has opened up to us.
So there is a chance, other teams have held, that Stanford held Arizona State 14 points. Now that quarterback didn't play in this game. That game since he came in, they scored 42 on Colorado and 36 on UCLA. So different sort of guy. So they've had some decent offensive games, but. And those have been recently, and so that's what scares you. But if the defense can hold them down like they've done to many teams, hopefully Arizona State's defense is pretty bad, and they can move the ball on them, and that would be nice to see. Do you have any other thoughts on Arizona State, Jeff, before we get to a prediction here, which we'll do before the end of the podcast?
No, I don't have any other thoughts. Let's get to the predictions.
All right. So, do you want to do first half, second half, or just do the whole game?
Let's do the whole game.
All right, lazy. Okay. Give me your final
Man, I want to talk
score.
about women's basketball. We got to get on with this.
Yeah. Give me your final score.
I think we win 35-24. 35-24.
Neat. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I think that we also win. And I'm going to go 28-21. So I guess I don't have us covering.
Yeah.
I still still not fully convinced of the offense.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair. That's fair.
28-21. I do think they definitely could 35 or more on this defense, but we'll see. We'll see. 28-21 Cougs. So both wins. I do think it was funny. Someone sent us the "You're an Idiot" gif fairly because we both picked narrow wins over Stanford, and then that was not what happened.
Yeah. No, I think your response was acceptable. That we'll allow it. I think that's fair.
Yep, I like it. All right, so football. Now, there was men's team was not the only basketball team to play and impress today.
Yeah.
The women's team, Cami Etheridge's team, welcomed Loyola Marymount into Pullman and absolutely ripped them apart.
Yes.
93 to 41.
It's the only way to describe it. It was so bad.
And every single player that played, which was 12 different players, scored. Bella was having a fun time down low. Charlize had a pretty quiet 16 points, just kind of casually throughout the game, chipped away at them, and then suddenly she has 16 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. It's just
she didn't really have to. Like, that was the thing. Like,
she didn't really need to do it. And Charlize
we've relied on her so much, and like she just wasn't needed in that way.
Well, you know what the beautiful thing is? Charlize only played 27 minutes.
Yes.
You know, Ula only played 22. Bella only played 20.
Nobody
Yo
played
only
more
played
than
21.
27. That was it. So
you know, it was dominant defensive performance. It's nice to see they've kind of hung their hat on defense the last couple of years. Defense and then hoping Charlize makes a play. But it was nice to see, balanced scoring. Ula 5 of 6 from 3. It looked like her release is quicker this year. Like she's got more confidence in it. She's like, you know what, I'm going to pull threes, and she did. She shot 6 of them and made 5 of them.
I mean, why not? She scored 15 points in 22 minutes. So, yeah, that's pretty good. 15 points, 7 rebounds. Yeah, 7 boards, an assist, block. Like she is really kind of the glue that holds the team together, man. And when she's able to kind of do her thing, the team is so much better. And then Bella doing, you mentioned Bella doing what she did. She had, I don't know, man, she played with some really nice confidence in this one. Sometimes it feels like she can kind of shrink a little bit and fade to the background a little bit. Not in this one, man. She was assertive. She scored 18 points in 20 minutes. Now she was by far the tallest and most athletic person on the floor, on both sides. But some of the things she did were exactly what you would want the tallest and most athletic person to do. There was one where she had, she caught the ball toward the free throw line, I think, and had a nice little running layup from there. Just kind of, darted to the basket and laid it in. She was impressive. She was impressive, doing exactly what I think we want her to do, which is just be, tall and athletic. And she was definitely a difference maker in the game.
Yeah, and it was nice to see. It looks like Tara Wallach's in the starting lineup now. I always love what she brought defensively.
Yep.
Still, she was 4 of 12. She struggled with finishing last year. If she starts finishing better, and she's so big and strong and has such a versatile game, you know it's going to click for her at some point. She's going to start finishing, and she's just going to be like an elite player when that happens because she's so good defensively. She can guard so many different positions. Such a nice asset to have in there. They're kind of playing her in like a 3-4 position right now, but she can offensively she can play a lot of different positions too. Just a sophomore, and I think she looks more comfortable this year, and so that was nice to see. Now, the freshman that impressed the most, that seems to be that she's going to be their first guard off the bench, was I apologize, I'm going to butcher her name, but Astira Tahina from Kosovo, a freshman from Kosovo. She just looks like a really quality guard that can, like a playmaking guard, just a real playmaking guard, and a big guard. She had 6 boards in this game, 8 assists, 7 points. She's 5'9". You know, it's she's kind of like, she looks like such a classic Euro guard. She's got like the knee pads and stuff, you know, like the knee braces and stuff. Like she's kind of got like she's got like the slow moves down, like where she'll just like get her body into people and
crafty,
stuff. Like
crafty.
She's got that. She's got all the Euro tricks, and she was fun to watch. And that you know, they're missing a point guard with, you know, because now if you look at their starting lineup, you don't really have a point guard in there.
No.
You know, Charlize, if someone said, Charlize, you had to play a point guard, she'd probably do just fine. But you don't want Charlize playing point guard.
Yeah.
You want, I mean, unless she's just like a scoring point guard, that's fine. Which is kind of, you know, I'm sure they'll have her handle the ball a lot, and she did anyway before. You know, it's like this is not like a new thing. But yeah, it's so, you know, but Tahina really is, she's an instant impact freshman. That very impressive. Like I am excited for what she's going to bring, like, to the team. Like, this is something that was going to be desperately needed after the departure of Crystal. And honestly, she probably can bring some elements that Crystal even herself couldn't bring. And so, yeah, I think she's going to be really fun to watch, and she's going to be just a program building player as well. Very impressive. You know, this is every year it's been impressive now. Cammie's bringing in these instant impact freshmen. You know, obviously Charlize 2 years ago, but 3 years ago. But you know, with Tara last year, and now Tahina. And then you had Gardner came in, another freshman. She looked like she can really shoot, and she's another kind of tall guard. And she had a real nice some corner three. Her stroke looked really good. So she can maybe provide some scoring punch off the bench. Still have Grace Sarver and Eminem Curvis were filling in their roles as well. But yeah, so it was overall, it was a fun game to watch. Adding these freshman pieces, it looks like they have some legitimate freshman pieces to add to their core five that they returned from last year. So it'll be interesting, and you can't argue with I don't even know where LMU is on the spectrum of women's college basketball, but a 52-point win against anybody is impressive, honestly. Yes.
They were pretty bad last year. Like, I went and looked. They were like, I don't know, 11-18 or something, and 5-10, 5-11 in the WCC. So obviously not great, but also, like you said, beating anybody by 50 is pretty good.
Yeah, just they were struggling to find good shots against WSU. They just couldn't get it going. And then once WSU really started scoring, in about the second quarter, they really hit their stride on offense. It was over. After it was just a constant trajectory up. Even the backups, Kaya Woods, Lauren Glazier, Emma, and Grace and them at the end, they extended the lead even farther. So it's always fun when the big, kind of, we talked about the men's game, the big lead kind of dwindled down at the end. It's fun when you bring in the backups and they extend the lead out. So you kind of preserve that the score can be indicative of the dominance that you had. And this was a real dominating performance, real fun. I couldn't watch it super closely because it was in the middle of the day. But from what I watched, it was really fun to watch, and it was good to see. And hopefully they can get back to another NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if tonight's any indication, that's where we're heading.
Hopefully get to the point where they can get a little bit better seeds and stuff and get better matchups in the
Yes, that would be
first
nice.
round.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice.
But yeah, so yeah, I guess now we can move on. We can talk about volleyball and soccer. Volleyball, kind of, what they held steady this weekend. Kind of did what would be predicted. They swept Oregon State, who was not very good, and then they lost in 4 really tough fought sets to Oregon. They were all very close sets. All the ones they lost, that's always tough.
Yeah.
I think they lost a couple 23-25 and all that, but yeah. So, but really, they have a win over Oregon already this year. If they get that one, their resume is probably sealed as long as they take care of business the rest of the way. But it's beating Oregon State is big. You're not doing anything detrimental to your resume. And then Oregon that becomes kind of gravy at that point, but especially since you already have the win over Oregon. Now, the win over Oregon is their premier win, but they're going to have some, chances for some nice wins down the stretch again. So, yeah, good on them. I think, they kind of held serve this week, and now they travel again to Arizona State and Arizona this week.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, and let me.
I don't have much to add beyond that.
Let's at least see where Arizona and Arizona State are on the standings, so we can get some sense of how good they are, and what kind of win that might be. So yeah, these are matches they need to win.
Yes.
Arizona State, Arizona, currently 9th and 10th in the league, 5-9 and 3-11. So yeah, this is they'll be definitely looking for a sweep this weekend. Would be big for the Cougs to kind of stay on track for another tournament bid here. Don't want to slip up this weekend. But yeah, and speaking of teams that maybe slipped up a few times and didn't quite do what they needed to do, we can finally put a bow. They announced the NCAA tournament teams this today, and WSU was not one of them. Not surprising, but yeah, WSU soccer had probably one of the toughest seasons they've had in a long time, and that finished with a brutal loss to their rival, where they blew a 2-1 lead to lose at home 3-2 on senior day.
Yeah,
that's rough.
To a team they hadn't lost to in a long time until last year, right?
No, they beat them last year. They lost
they beat
to them
last year. They lost the year before. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, bad. Like you mentioned, okay, toughest season. I'm trying to come up with, maybe you can think of something, but I'm trying to think of a season from a WSU team that has been more disappointing than this one. Like a team that came in with high expectations. They were ranked before the season for the first time, right? And then they were ranked number 15 at one point so they dropped out after losing to Michigan, and then kind of popped back up, and eventually, like I said, popped back in at 15, and then man, it went to shit after that. Like I can't even there's it is hard to describe how badly they went in the tank, and it's not like they were bad when they played. So for example, they in the last couple weeks they played Stanford, they played UCLA, they played USC, all of them are in the tournament. UCLA is the number 1 overall seed. Stanford is the 3 overall seed. I mean, they fought those teams, to the death in each game. They lost all 3 though. And, that's not necessarily a problem losing those 3, but when you're also losing to Oregon and, whomever else, that's where the problem comes in. And boy, I don't know, because the coverage isn't quite as in depth, right? When it comes to the soccer team, I truly don't know, how this is explained, by Schulenberger, Todd Schulenberger, the coach. I don't know how he explains this, but I know that it's bad, man. This is. I mean, if this was like, I'm trying to think of an example, like another example, like, I don't know, man. Imagine the football team starts the year ranked and then goes, 4-8 or something.
Well, the closest,
it's similar.
I would not necessarily 4-8. Like, what was
it's
their
similar though.
Record? Yeah, what was their conference record?
It was bad, man. I think what'd they finish on? Like 9 points or something? I think it was. Let me check.
Oh yeah, they were 2-6-3 in conference. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was terrible.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I was gonna say, like, that in some ways, like the 2017 season, the football season, they started out 5-0, and it was like really fun, and then they finished like 8-5, and it was it was that kind of petered out, but they still finished 8-5. They would have quite the season there's just.
I mean, this team finished. They finished in a tie for 9th.
Yeah, and they've
like
really been a top half program for so long.
Yes.
And they, I'm sure I think they were predicted to be 5th or 4th.
Yeah. To finish with single digit points is like, yeah. So I don't know, man, back to the drawing board, I guess, for Schulenberger. I don't know
like,
what,
the thing is, like,
need to do different, but
like, you follow the games all year and it felt like they were a lot better than this. Like, it just always felt like they're better than this. But also, this is fucking soccer sometimes. Like,
yes,
because goals are so difficult to get, results don't always follow. Like, it seems like it's soccer more than other sports. Like, results don't follow capability and talent as much. And I think it's safe to say, like at this point, like, you look at how many goals they scored throughout the season, like, they generate shots, but they got to generate better. They got to generate better chances. They have to finish those chances. Like, it's crazy to, like, I'm sure that, like, they're sitting there thinking the same thing. Like, it's just like, what the hell happened? Look at this stretch to end the fucking season, dude. Like, Cal lost 1-2. Stanford lost 1-2. Both teams Cal definitely could have beaten them. Oregon tie 1-1. Arizona State lost 0-2. Definitely should have beaten Arizona State.
That's a home game.
Arizona draw 0-0. Definitely should have beaten Arizona. Now, UCLA and UCLA. USC and UCLA. 2 losses to 2 very good teams. If you played that well in those games, as you did against Arizona State, you're sitting in maybe a different position coming in this UW game. And then the UW game, they looked really dominant in the first half. And I didn't watch the second half because I watched the football game. And then I look at the score later and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yep.
Obviously UW tied. I missed UW tying it for the end of the first half, but yeah, it's a real bummer because it's been really fun to follow this program, and and it really looks.
It's almost been like an annual right. Like it's time for the NCAA tournament. Like, let's go, and man, none of that this year.
Yeah, and there was a point early in the Pac-12 schedule, it looked like maybe they were turning it around, and they got it figured out now. They won a bunch of games in a row and stuff, but now it's just the results just didn't come, and they definitely have talent. Like, there's a lot of really good young players. Like, I'm not like down on the program. Like, this was a bad season. I do not expect this to keep happening. Like, they've been recruiting so well. There's a lot of really good young players on this team. So I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll come back.
Yeah.
You know, but they won't have the hype going into the next season probably because they don't have the result from the previous season. But I think that next year I can fully see them going back to being a top half team in the league with the talent that they have, because they were so close this year. It was so frustrating. Like, it just a few goals here and there, and it's like a completely different season. But yeah, it's just hopefully they can come back, add more talent, which they've been doing, and be a Pac-12 power again.
Yep, I think they'll be back. They'll be fine. It's just, I mean, sometimes you just have those seasons, right, where things don't go right, and sometimes, as I sort of mentioned, I mean, some of their situation, I think, is just stylistic. We've talked about how they, the way we look at the shot totals, and I'm like, well, a lot of those shots not very dangerous. Like on a personal level, I'd love to see a little more, a little more possession based soccer from them. But I mean, it's, sort of dance with the girl that brung you, right? I mean, that's it's kind of the saying, right? You sort of do what got you there, and this is what got them there over the years. And there's just kind of a part of me though, like watching it, where I'm like, man, I mean, there are so many possessions that get squandered to some degree because you're 25 yards from goal and you go ahead and launch a shot. It's like, okay, but like that shot had a, we talk about XG. I mean, that shot had a, 0.01 chance of being a goal. They do have a fair amount of those shots, and, take as many shots as they do and have them, so many of them not be, really on target or dangerous. I think that was sort of thing that stuck with me. I mean, there were some games where they really peppered the goal, and whoever the keeper was would, sort of stand on their head. But plenty of other games where I was watching, I'm like, yeah, it says they had 15 shots, but like, yeah, not very many of those very dangerous. And I think that's kind of, I think that's the thing that if I were, and again, I'm not Todd Schulenberger, I'm not pretending to be, but if I was wishing for things, I would wish for a team that can maybe be a little more dangerous, playing themselves in the final third versus just sort of settling for haphazard shots toward the goal that most of the time don't end up on.
Yeah. So yeah, we can put a bow on that season. It hasn't been nearly as much fun to talk about as it usually is. Hopefully, volleyball can finish strong, give us some NCAA tournament action here in the fall winter sports here. But yeah. So I one thing I know people are gonna pay attention, but. So I think we'll kind of like casually be on Noah Williams' watch a bit during the season.
Yeah.
So he started for UW tonight, played most of the first half, 18 out of the minutes of the first half. Is a major factor in their offense, but 21% usage. But not 2 of 6 from the field, a couple turnovers, whatever, a couple steals, But apparently he tweaked his ankle warming up for the second half, and didn't play the rest of the game.
He picked up some kind of injury. I was watching it while we were starting our recording, and he was limping around the sideline, had his knee wrapped up with some ice. I don't know if the knee was injured or if the ankle was injured or whatever, but He was clearly hurt. So hopefully for his sake, it's minor.
Especially 56 offensive rating. We need him on the floor for you, Dub.
That's right.
I just took a big drink of my beer when I said that.
Attaboy.
He's gonna absolutely murder us. I know he is. Or he's just gonna shoot a lot. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, he's definitely going to shoot a lot. There's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of whether a bunch of them go in.
Yeah. All right. Well, in all fairness, I'm not trying to pile on the kid, but I genuinely hope he's okay. I know he went back to UW to be close to his family and be where it's comfortable for him and stuff. So, but yeah, I know Cougs are interested, and he played. He's a starter for them. He looks like he's going to play a ton of minutes, as long as he's healthy. Which is interesting because I don't think he would have played that many minutes for us. That's
he
kind of
would
weird.
not have started for us.
No, I think he probably would have been
I'm extremely
the second
confident about that.
defense.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. UW. Just looking at the Pac-12 scores tonight. So UW took care of Weber State pretty easily. That gave them a little bit of boost on the Ken Palms. 69-52. Weber State not very good. Arizona rolled over Nichols. I know that 117 points. Jeez, 88 possessions. Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah. They run and run and run and run and run.
UCLA didn't play? No, they haven't finished yet. Or it just hasn't registered on Ken Palm yet.
Yeah, they beat the crap out of Sacramento State.
Yeah,
it's just probably not. But
honestly, I'm just slowly working my way to get into the most hilarious outcome of the night, which would be USC losing to Andy Enfield's former school, Florida Gulf Coast.
I'll be honest. I didn't know if you were going there or if you were going to go with Oregon State getting destroyed by Tulsa. I wasn't.
But
sure.
Tulsa is probably better than Oregon State. Tulsa was ranked higher than Oregon State on KenPom.
Yeah, that's true.
The Florida Gulf Coast was rated 258. USC was rated 36.
Yeah,
the Florida Gulf
anymore.
Coast had a huge lead in that game. They were up by 20 at one point. And that's got to feel good for... I mean, none of the kids care. None of them played for Andy Enfield, but some Florida Gulf Coast fans are like, hell yeah, suck it, Andy.
I mean, that was... I want to be honest. The start of that game was I want to say USC had a 97% win probability.
Yep.
I think at the beginning of the game.
Hold on, let me pull up the thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 90,
it's always funny watching those kinds of games too. When somebody with that low of probability wins on KenPom, the win probability chart is hilarious because there's
starts at one end and goes to the other.
Yes. Well, and it's also it's even if the team with the huge, the team that's a huge favorite, even if they get off to a really slow start, the algorithm is we still think they're probably going to win. They're a better team. They're probably going to win. And then there's a point at which the algorithm goes, nope, you're in trouble. And it's it shoots up to the other side. It's funny as hell. So this happened at I don't know, at about the, what was that? About the 11, 12 minute
minutes.
mark.
Yeah. About 10 minutes left.
Yeah. That's when it crossed over. But Florida Gulf Coast had a 17-3 run. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they went from a 5-point lead with 11 minutes left to, a 15-point lead, it went from, Florida Gulf Coast was 17% to win with a 5-point lead with 11 minutes left. And then in the middle of that run, they built it to, at one point, a 15-point lead with just about 8 minutes left, and then they're at 83% to win. So in 4 minutes, they went from 17% to 83%. Exactly like you say. Like, there's a point when it's like, it doesn't matter how much better you are than this team. There is not enough time for you to come back.
Yeah,
is what
game
they're saying.
I mean, it's all about the
USC
game state.
tried. They won an 11-0 run late, but like they were already down by 20 at that point. So it was just like didn't matter.
Yep.
And it's just like under Enfield, especially, like it just seems like he has set some really good teams. They always just throw out a clunker like this, like just an absolute clunker early in the season. I guess last year they didn't, but they did lose to Stanford in conference play, which was bad. Now I'm looking at their schedule. Maybe they haven't done that. I don't know.
Yeah. They did not look good. I didn't watch I watched maybe like the last like 7-8 minutes of the game. So in that time they didn't look good, but yeah, I don't know.
They got Vermont. They got Vermont coming in. Top 100 Vermont coming in next week. Better watch out.
We know which side you're rooting for on that one.
Hell yeah. John Becker, he's always got those boys playing well.
Yeah, get him, Catamounts.
It's one of the most consistent fucking programs in the country.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. So, yeah, but other than that, I guess, Tulsa, Oregon State, like you said, Tulsa might actually be better. Other than that,
in all
Pac-12 did fine.
likelihood, it's better.
Yeah. Pac-12
Oregon
did fine otherwise. So,
yeah. Oregon State's going to have a lot of games like that in their conference schedule.
Yeah,
like, they're not
they're
good.
bad.
They're really bad. They're kind of like Ernie Kent, WSU, but maybe even worse level bad.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose to Florida A&M or Bushnell or probably not to Portland State.
Sure.
But they're playing Duke in that Phil Knight tournament.
Oh, dear God. Yikes.
Like, come on.
Yikes.
Why do you invite us instead? We'll play Duke.
Yeah.
At least have a chance with like fucking Oregon State.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so Pac-12 basketball. We I know it's kind of weird to say, but we need a lot of y'all to be good.
Yes. Yep. We need lots of those quad one opportunities.
Yes. Don't have a ton of them in the non-conference, and Diamond Head Classic ain't doing us any favors in that regard.
Nope.
But yeah, so yeah, Jeff, basketball is back, man.
Whee!
It just means you have to make sure you're wearing your Cougs stuff more often. Yeah.
I know.
You're like, oh shit, I got a game to watch tonight. I was like, Amanda was like, can you take Gigi to her swim, her swim lesson appointment? And I was like, sorry, the Cougs play at 4:30. I want to watch that. And so she took her to the appointment.
I know 4:30 games are. Yeah, I'd kind of hustle home on that one.
Yeah, me too. I had to hustle out to the living room.
It's the beauty of working at home, right?
Yeah. It is the beauty of it. It's the best. Everyone should do it. Besides maybe teachers, I think you all found that out was pretty shitty.
No, yeah, I think my job is better if I do it in person.
Yeah.
I do think my job is better in person. So
my job, almost very little reason to be done in person.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like it. But yeah, so I guess that's it. If you, especially if you like basketball coverage, give us a follow for the rest of the season. Subscribe, like us, give us, 5 stars, 5 of them, all 5 stars, all 5. 5-star rating, please. Leave a comment. Tell us how much you like us. If you want to follow us on the socials, I'm at the Craig Powers on Twitter, at Craig W. Powers on Instagram and TikTok. I don't know why you would follow me on TikTok, but if you want to, it's fine. Especially if you like
for the karaoke videos, of course.
Yes. But I put those on my Instagram usually too.
Oh.
But you can follow me on TikTok. That's cool. It makes me feel good about myself, you know. And then you can follow Jeff on Twitter at Pod versus Everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can send us emails. I didn't even check the email. We're running late on time here, aren't we?
Yeah. Let's save the emails for next week, maybe.
Oh shit, yeah, we're hour 44. We're good. Sorry if you sent us an email and we didn't answer it. Well, we just basketball happened. We were excited. But if you want, no one sent us an email, so whatever. Send us a fucking email at podcastversuseveryone@gmail.com.
Yes.
Versus is VS. Send us an email. Or else.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what else is.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
You'll want to find out.
Have you guys noticed I've been drinking a 14% stout? All right. So, Jeff, with that, I will say go Cougs.
Go Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Still. Go get vaccinated.
Got my booster. Boosted. 2 times.
Boosted.